Thank you very much for that kind introduction. And I'd like to thank Udaveer Singh and all who've been involved in organizing this very impressive gathering for your kindness in inviting me to join you in discussing common concerns for peace and justice in the interdependent and strife-torn world of today. I speak from a Sikh perspective on where we are and what we must do to make the world a safer and fairer place for future generations. The poet reminds us that rivers and mountains interpose to make one people implacable foes. But it's not only geography that divides our one human family, it's also human, including religious bigotry. Seeing others as lesser and less deserving beings has been a source of conflict throughout history, leading to the horror of the slave trade, empire building, and gross economic exploitation. It's also led to the absurdity of superior and inferior races. Such talk was common in the Germany of the 30s, but also in this country. In 1937, in a speech to the Palestine Royal Commission justifying the proposed uprooting of Palestinians to create a Jewish state, Winston Churchill said, "I do not admit that a great wrong has been done to the Red Indians of America or the black people of Australia. I do not admit a wrong has been done to these people by the fact that a stronger race, a higher grade race, a more worldly wise race has come in and taken their place." Rivalry between the higher grade races resulted in the horror of the First World War. Millions died. The war ended with the defeat and humiliation of Germany. Prejudice led to Jews being blamed for both the defeat and the resulting suffering. Prejudice and bigotry swept Hitler to power. The Second World War followed with further atrocities against the Jews. The widespread killing of innocents in Europe and in the Far East, the incineration of hundreds and thousands of men, women, and children in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The suffering and devastation of the war shocked world leaders into a near-realism and a common desire to work for a more peaceful world. Victor nations agreed that the only way forward to lasting peace would be a recognition of the equal rights of all members of our one human family. Imperatives for peace and justice, first put forward by Sikh gurus more than 3 centuries earlier, in the words Manas ki jaat sab ek hi pachano, recognize the oneness of the human race. Sadly, the desire for powerful countries to assert superiority over others has continued unabated. The West invaded Iraq and destabilized the region on the pretext that Iraq was developing weapons of mass destruction, strengthening the hand of Islamic extremism. Russia invaded mineral-rich Ukraine. Israel occupies the West Bank and attacks the Gaza Strip, causing Belsen-like suffering. In the name of defense, more powerful nations exploit smaller regional conflicts by selling arms to impoverished people in places such as the Middle East, or by direct involvement in conflict in Iraq, Syria, or Afghanistan. India is also pursuing this mindless greed, purchasing cheap Russian oil to support Russian aggression against Ukraine. India, the land of Mahatma Gandhi, boasts of its arms trade, selling arms to Russia, who, surprise, sell their arms to Pakistan for use against India. In a speech in the Lords last month, Lord Robertson the former defense minister, made clear what politicians mean by defense. He spoke about countries like China and Russia threatening the existing world order. He was right. They too are also trying to acquire crude political and economic power. However, the briefest glimpse at the world history showed that the existing world order is built on racism, slavery, and gross economic exploitation. Conflict is inevitable in a world built on such insecure foundations. What do we need to do to move to a fairer society? Religious teachings were meant to provide the answer, but today rivalry between religions or subsets of religions is itself a major cause of conflict and suffering. But I still believe that following the ethical teachings put forward by the founders of our different faiths are the best way forward for both individuals and society as a whole. Let me explain myself. The founders of our different religions understood that we human beings are too often motivated by greed, selfishness, and prejudice, rather than a desire to look to the well-being of others. And they taught imperatives for responsible living. Sadly, these common uplifting teachings soon became overlain with ritual, superstition, and culture, and worse, a common desire to impose their religious superiority, God-given authority to subdue and subjugate others. Guru Nanak was a witness to such religious bigotry in the India some 500 years ago. The Guru openly challenged this irreligious view of religion. He taught that the one God of us all is not in the least bit interested in our different religious labels, but in what we do to create a fairer and more peaceful society. He and succeeding gurus criticized the notions of caste or race, superstition, and meaningless rituals. They stressed the complete equality of women. At the same time, they recognized and applauded ethical commonalities between our different faiths. Our holy book, the Guru Granth Sahib, not only contains writings of the Sikh gurus, but also ethical perspectives from Hindu and Muslim saints. Sikhs invited a Muslim saint to lay the foundation stone of the Golden Temple. A Sikh leader, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, named by the BBC as one of the greatest leaders of all time, welcomed Muslims and Hindus into his government and gave generously to mosques and Hindu temples while bringing peace and prosperity to Punjab. The problems faced by us today are probably worse than those faced by Guru Nanak, but I believe that this approach of looking to the good in others and building on common values and common interests is the only way forward to lasting peace for all. Today, much more needs to be done to make religion a force for good. But to do this, we have to remove the overlay of ritual, superstition, culture, and bigotry to put underlying imperatives in their true perspective. Today, we are in a smaller, interdependent world with common challenges. Our destinies are inextricably linked, and we face common environmental and other challenges. Today, there is no us and them. There is only us. We all have a common responsibility to change old-fashioned mindsets about exclusive and superior religions and beliefs, and the belief that force is the only way to conflict resolution. As mentioned, the existing world order is built on dodgy and unstable foundations of greed and conquest. I believe its structure can be strengthened with a universal commitment to common imperatives and common ethical values. To move in this direction, to bring these teachings to the fore, it's important to remove Device's arrogant claims of God-given superiority and harmful culture which has become embedded in religious texts. Most people learn to skip over such claims, but they are food and sustenance to the extremists, justifying violence and extremism. At the turn of the century, I was invited to join what was called the Lambeth Group to celebrate the coming millennium by formulating common values for peace and justice. We were all from different religions, but we had no difficulty in formulating these. The exercise reminded us that the ethical values taught by our different faiths are not all that different. Our different religions are overlapping circles of belief, with a part in common being much greater than the smaller area of difference. It's important that we keep our common values to the fore at all times, not only in our personal lives, but also in looking to and emphasizing common interests in working for a better world. Thank you.